In today's module, we're going to be talking about what to do when you don't want to do fitness. Because unfortunately, we are all going to have seasons, phases, days, weeks, months where we do not want to do any of this shit. Pardon my French. But the reality is you didn't sign up here because you wanted to turn your life into a fitness influencer. You didn't want to totally create your entire identity around health and fitness. You wanted to get in shape in a way that was low effort, as simple as possible. And sometimes the idea of putting in the work is so dreadful. So today we're going to explain and explore why that is and how to overcome it. Now, the very first thing that you need to know is that this feeling is not going to just go away all of a sudden. I think sometimes we expect that if I hang in there long enough, I work on my health and fitness long enough, that eventually I will just love it. And the reality is you might not. You might not ever love all of this, maybe like you once did, or like you want to, or that you see others do. And that doesn't mean that you are not meant to be fit or to be healthy, or that you can't do these things. I think a lot of times we're mixing up the association of wanting to do something with being able to or being likely to succeed in something. And I know we as coaches, we use this example all the time that we have plenty of days, and most days we don't want to go do the thing, but we do it anyways. But I understand that sometimes that can be hard to really feel relatable to, because it is still our profession and it is still what we are paid to live by. So because of that, in y'all's case, I have had to come up with other ways to help you tie back why it's important for you to show up in spite of not wanting to, and how doing that can actually create more motivation in the long run. So lesson number one is recognize that this feeling may not go away. And if you really don't like certain aspects of this journey, like working out, getting your steps in, drinking lots of water, eating certain types of foods, well, that's okay. You don't have to love it, but it is something that's better for you in the long haul, and it's aligned with your ideal version of yourself, and that's why you're doing it, right? But sometimes we need to come to the acceptance that love, that burning passion might not be there. The next thing that I like to do for people who are really struggling with this concept of not wanting to is, instead of just diving into your why, of why is it important for you to see changes, to see results, to maintain a healthy lifestyle, those can be very powerful reflections. And when you really dig into the why, a lot of times you'll tap into deeper emotional reasons why you want to change, breaking generational patterns, or being able to feel proud and confident of what you see in the mirror. And those are all very motivating reasons. However, sometimes they feel a little too far away. Sometimes they just feel like, oh, I don't want to have diabetes or these diseases when I'm older, and we are in our 30s or our 40s, and that feels so far away, right? So how I bring it closer for you guys is I have you list out what are your 3 to 5 top priorities in your life right now, because fitness and health might not be number one on that list. I would guarantee actually for most of you that it's not number one on that list. If it is, amazing, great. But if it's not, be honest about that. And maybe it's not even in the top 3. Maybe it's at the bottom of the top 5, right? Or maybe it's skirting around somewhere underneath that between 6 and 10. And I want you to be honest about this, of where your priorities truly are with respect to what you want them to be, right? As well as look at it from the angle of what are your actions showing in terms of where your priorities are. First, see if there's a discrepancy there. That's important to reconcile. But second, be real with where your priorities truly are in your life. List them 1 through 5. And the reason why this is so important to acknowledge is because in a lot of other times of your life, if you're here, you resonate with our message, our vision here at PCC, then you are probably somebody who in a past season treated fitness like it was the number one priority and learned that that was the only way that you could see results. And that creates a relationship with it that makes you feel like if it's not your number one priority, then you can't be successful. And that's a really dangerous trap to be in, because there are very, very few seasons where fitness can be our top priority in our life, right? So let's say your top 5 looks something like this: family, work, friends, fitness, and hobbies, right? Maybe something like that. The question that you want to be asking yourself instead of, oh, why do I want to make these changes, right? Is how does sticking to the non-negotiables in your day-to-day, the things that move you towards your goals, the things that are important for you to stick with for your healthy lifestyle, how do doing those things impact your top priorities? So when I get my steps in, when I eat nutrient-dense foods, when I get appropriate amounts of sleep, how do I show up as a mother, a sister, a daughter, right? When I don't do these things, what are the consequences to the other people in my life that I'm trying to show up for there? At work, when I am getting my workouts in, eating healthy, drinking lots of water, how does it impact my focus, my performance, my productivity, my ability to compartmentalize and not bring work home, right? And then on the flip side, if I'm not doing those things, how does it bleed in? Do I fall behind on deadlines, on projects? Am I a little more scattered? Really honestly ask yourself those questions. And do that for all of the priorities that are not health and fitness in your top 5. And if we're being honest, the reason that we're getting fit and healthy, yes, we want to love what we see in the mirror. Yes, we want to feel confident. But everything that we will have just listed is arguably the real reason why we should be doing all of this in the first place. Right? Is how do we show up as best we can in every area of our life that truly matters to us? How do we show up with integrity? How do we feel proud of ourselves? How do we have more confidence in every area of our life? So remember that the goal is not to center your life around fitness. It's to work fitness in to your life in ways that better all of these other avenues that you are committed to and are a priority to you as well. And lastly, when you're struggling with that motivation and maybe you know these things, you've reflected on this and you're still struggling with taking action, I'd recommend that you take one step away from rigid rules, protocols, and following things as if they have to be perfect in order for you to succeed, and think about non-negotiables, right? So a non-negotiable is something that would need to happen to have those positive effects on your work, your family, other areas of your life, but aren't rigid. So an example of this would be, rather than focusing on getting 10,000 steps a day, the focus would be, how do I get in movement and stay active? It's a broader lens of looking at things that makes it easier for the task to get done, even if the exact metric doesn't get hit. Same with, oh, I can't hit my exact macros in this situation, but how can I choose nutrient-dense whole foods, look for protein, look for fiber, and stop when I'm full? So hopefully this helps you to just reorient maybe what you thought you had to think in order to be successful, and instead anchor around what really is true and how this does impact your life in a better way without taking away from all the other priorities that you have. Let your coach know what resonated from this module, and I'll see you back here in the next one.